Alright, so now we have our buckram sewn to our lining and our fabric, our draper fabric. Remember, 3 pieces, just like the inverted pleated drape. So now we have to turn it. I'm going to try to do this really quick. Well, hello everybody, we're back. So thus far in our 3-panel pair, on the table here I have one side of it, and I have my side hem in, we've got our buckram in, we've got the draperies turned, we've got everything ironed in place, but we're not going to move the drape over yet because we have to pin the pleats. And I'm having a real hard time getting the process of that across in my videos. So I'm going to let Miss Susie step in here and do that, explain how the pleats work and some other details about the drape, including some new stuff about the lining I was just told about. So here she is. Okay, so while she's doing that, I'll have to get the camera because we want to get really close in on this pinning the pleats process. So stand by.
Hey everybody, here we are talking about pleating one more time. It kind of requires all these little talks about pleating because there's a lot of aspects to it and you have to get it right. Alright, so once again, our finished width is made up with the spaces, the return, and the overlap. In this case, this half of this pair needs to finish at 28, which means I need 8 spaces. Now I'm including my return and overlap because they are actually the same size as my spaces, all 3.5 inches. It is important to keep the spaces the same size. You can wiggle around in the pleats and I'm about to show you why. Now when you do the math, this should have come out about 6 and 3.5. Pleat, space, 6, 3.5, 6, 3.5. But in fact, when we get over here to our seam, which has to be in a space, our space misses it. So here's what you got to do about that, because this has to be right on the edge of a space. So this being the space, we're going to move this pin and position it where we want the seam to be in that space, which is right alongside. This part over here will be the next pleat. So we start here and we just go backwards. We do our 3.5. You can enlarge your pleats or decrease them up to about 3/8 of an inch. And it won't show up because when you pinch this, that 3/8 is divided into 3 parts, this being a 3-point pleat. So it's very negligible. You cannot see it. So we'll go back and instead of 6, we'll do 6 1/4. 3.5. 6 1/4, 3.5, 6 1/4, 3 1/2, and just take it up all the way back. Now that wasn't quite enough, so we start here and go 6 1/2, 3 1/2, 6 1/2. So in fact, when we're all done with this thing, we'll have a few pleats that are just slightly larger than the others, but not significantly. So it'll all fade out. But the most important thing, put this seam in the edge of a space, either side, however it works out mathematically. But so now we have our 3 1/2 inch overlap, and we got this many spaces, which is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Go back to the 3
5,
1/2 inch overlap.
6. This 3 1/2 inch overlap, this is on a traverse rod, which will have what's called a master carrier. It's a little bar up there in the middle that you put the edge of your drape to. Those are typically always 3 1/2 inches. So if you do 3 1/2, you're real safe that's gonna fit, unless they indicate otherwise, which they will if the work order comes in, or you can measure your own if you're doing it for yourself. All right, so we know we need 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need to go on into the other half of this panel and put 2 more spaces in there, and our side hem, and this half of this drape will be ready to table.
Good.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3 1/2 inch spaces. Count the side hem and overlap counting. So this is going to make up our entire 28 inches to finish this half of this pair. This is our allowance for our side hem. We're going to cut it, turn that in, and this pleating process will be complete. Now on this side of the space, because we went 6 1/4 down through there, I stayed 6 1/4 on this side as well. Just always remember, keep that right in the edge of the space like that, and you'll be happy. Okay, and that kind of takes care of pleating this pair. We'll turn the other side and put it face to face, because you always want these to be just alike. Turn them face to face and transfer these pins. We'll match them on the other drape, and the whole pair will be pleated.
Thank you, Miss Susie. Did you get that? I hope you did. Alright, so carrying on, grab my scissors from the scissor place, and I gotta chop this piece of fabric off right here. here is both our drapes, both panels of our 3-panel pair, 3-width pair, are on the table. One is already pinned up for pleats and spaces. So what I'm checking is to make sure they're both really, really close, if not perfectly the same. So the first thing I check is I get my side hinge exactly where they go. Come over here and I check my seam. This particular drape only has one seam. Now these drapes can get really wide, but for the purpose of this one, we have one seam, and they're running straight down the table together, just like they're supposed to do. All right, so all that's left is to put a pin where there's a pin. Get some out so I can find it. Co-workers used to get so mad at me because I'd reach in that pin pan and I'd pull out enough pins to pin up the world, and they'd say, "You just got to put all them back." I need 5 pins, I'd pull out 50. Again, our pin right here is right up against our seam. Alright, so one of these days I'll drop a box of pins. I'll show you an easy way to pick them up. So now I know I have to have 3 inches to turn that side hem. I'm going to put a pin right there to mark it. Now then, we'll just go back. Put these last couple of pins in. Alright, there you have it. Well, hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is the finish of the 3-panel pair. Remember, we cut 3 panels or 3 widths of drapes, then we cut 1 width in half. We went through the process of double checking, making sure that our panels matched, that our widths matched, and we found one to be slightly different. So we put it on the half panel side, and that will be here. This will go to the stack back, to the wall. And this opens this away, opens the window so you can see out the window. It closes so people can't see in, you can't see out, darkens the room. Okay, so that's how these work. We ended up with a nice 3-point pleat. So if you were looking at them hanging on a wall, this is what you would see. And then when they close and open, actually it would close this way and open. All right, so this wraps up another job. In today's business, we have a lot of folding to do, and we've got another 4-panel pair already halfway finished there. We got another 4-panel and another 4-panel pair to get out by tomorrow. So this will wrap up the videos for this week. Thanks for watching.